Okay, so I'll call the June 13th General Council meeting to order now and open the meeting. Is there any declarations of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest tonight for the councillors?
No.
None there. Okay, so I'll move right on to delegations. 3A, Colleen Hannigan, Integrity Commissioner, Expertise for Municipalities, to present an inquiry report for the Township of Nairn and Hyman regarding a code of conduct complaint. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, councillors. As a consultant, can you hear me all right? Is this coming through the speakers? Yes. Okay. So as a consultant representing E4M, Expertise for Municipalities, your current Integrity Commissioner, I will be reading a report into the minutes this evening. And the report will then be forwarded to your CAO tomorrow morning for distribution as a public document. So before we start, I'd just like to give you a really brief background of how I ended up at your table tonight. And I have over 30 years of experience in local and provincial government in both Ontario and British Columbia. I recently retired from 10 years as a CAO with a small municipality in British Columbia of about 1,800 people. So I'm quite familiar with working in small rural municipalities. And as a registered professional planner, I still do some planning consulting work for that municipality as well as for E4M. I started my career about 15 years, I worked for 15 years in town of Huntsville, and where I was born and raised. And my husband and I currently reside on Manitoulin Island. So not far from you, but I'm a little further away at the moment. But I started doing work with E4M about a year ago. So I may summarize a little bit in the report. You will receive the entire document tomorrow morning or tomorrow when Belinda can get it out. And it'll be in PDF format. So on with the business of tonight's report. It's an inquiry report decision on allegations of a contravention of the Township of Nairn Hyman's Code of Conduct and by Councillor Brigida Gingras. So, excuse me here. So E4M received, sorry, I'm getting dark in the camera here, but E4M as an Integrity Commissioner received a request for inquiry from a member of the public, which we refer to as the requester, with respect to behavior and actions of Councillor Gingras at the November 8th, 2021 and April 11th, 2022 council meetings. Upon receipt of the request, and once we completed an initial review of the application, it was determined that there were sufficient grounds to complete an inquiry into the matter. So the requester, the allegations are specifically made by the requester, and they're stated at the beginning of the report. So during November 8th, 2021 council meeting, Councillor Gingras verbally insulted the president and board of directors of the Agnew Lake Property Group, ALPG, in attendance at the public hearing for a zoning bylaw amendment they had applied for, affecting their organization. It was alleged that Councillor Gingras implied that the large number of people in attendance at the meeting were obviously there to oppose the bylaw amendment when the opposite was actually true. During both the November 8th and the April 11th meetings, Councillor Gingras brought up and continued to debate a previous decision of council she didn't agree with, and also referred to the bylaw inaccurately as an ALPG document, not the township's. Although the matter she raised was related to ALPG's subdivision issues, it had nothing to do with the motion on the table. So those were the allegations made by the requester. The findings and conclusion of this inquiry, based on the evidence before us, we do find that Councillor Gingras did make an unknowingly false and potentially embarrassing comment towards the ALPG executive at the November 8th, 2021 council meeting, thereby violating section 6.1 of the Code of Conduct, which states, and I quote, "Every member shall conduct himself or herself properly and in a civil and respectful manner at meetings." Councillor Gingras did contravene section 6.2 of the Code of Conduct when she spoke against and therefore disrespected the decision-making process of council, even if they disagree with the majority of council, is how how it's worded, the policy. Additionally, Councillor Gingras contravened the township's council proceedings bylaw when she pursued a subject not currently under debate, even after that fact was brought to her attention by the mayor of the day, and also when she refused to support a council decision once it was made. And I say mayor of the day since there were two different mayors at the time of those meetings. To be clear, it is acknowledged that Councillor Gingras did make a noticeable attempt to follow the rules of procedure for speaking during the subject council meetings. And further, she did contact and discuss what had happened with the president of ELPG, both by phone and by making an effort to respond to his letter to council verbally at the following council meeting on May 9th. Councillor Gingras' response at the May 9th meeting did not indicate that she either fully understood or was willing to admit that her behavior with respect to the items I mentioned previously were in contravention of the code, and that her passion for the subject was not a valid excuse. As she tried to explain and defend her actions, she showed no willingness to admit any wrongdoing once confronted by the letter to the mayor and this inquiry. The recommendations of the inquiry commissioner: upon finding a breach, as you know, it does permit council to levy a penalty of either a reprimand or a suspension of remuneration paid to the member in respect of services as a member of council for a period of up to 90 days per breach. This is the second time that Councillor Gingras has contravened the code of conduct, and we recommend that council impose a financial penalty of suspension of pay for a minimum of 30 days. A majority of council was present for and witnessed the behavior of Councillor Gingras during the aforementioned meetings, putting them in a position, to measure the offense and make a decision on an appropriate penalty. Additionally, we recommend that council consider a mandatory training session be made available immediately following the fall election concerning the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, the MCIA, the Code of Conduct, and the council proceedings bylaw for all elected members and senior administrative staff. Following that, a check-in as to how council and the CAO are doing with respect to the various bylaws respecting behavior should be scheduled every quarter. So the inquiry process that we undertook is we investigated the allegations, we reviewed the associated bylaws, policies, and legislation, the recording of the April 11th council meeting, and have spoken with the respondent, Councillor Gingras, the requester, and two other witnesses who were all present at the November 8th council meeting, as there was no recording of this meeting. We also reviewed the recording of May 9th to determine if any resolution on the matters or parts thereof had occurred since the inquiry was initiated. Then we go on to list the applicable sections of the Code of Conduct. They are 5.1. Every member shall observe and comply with every provision of this Code of Conduct, as well as all other policies and procedures adopted or established by council. And that's a pretty standard statement in all codes of conduct. Every member shall conduct himself or herself properly and in a civil and respectful manner at meetings and in accordance with the provisions of the procedural bylaw and this Code of Conduct and all other applicable law. Members shall, 6.2 states that members shall respect the decision-making process, and members will attempt to accurately and adequately communicate the attitudes and decisions of council, even if they disagree with the majority decision of council. As far as the council proceedings bylaw, 18.1 says to speak only to the subject under debate and to support the council once a decision is made. It also says every member shall speak only to the matter under debate. The conclusions that the Integrity Commissioner arrived at with respect to this matter are based on the following findings of fact. So the following evidence was taken directly from the related meeting agendas, the recordings and minutes, and unless otherwise noted in the report, if it was based on interviews, it is noted in the report. That's where. So at the November 8th council meeting, it included a public hearing for an amendment to a previously adopted zoning bylaw to amend the minimum lot sizes based on a final subdivision survey plan for the Agnew property group. After the public hearing portion of the meeting had closed, Councillor Gingras noted for everyone to hear that there were a large number of people from the public in attendance at the meeting and admittedly commented that obviously this meant the group was divided. She vocalized this in an open session. Ivan Chaumont, president of the ALPG, felt chastised by this comment and for what Councillor Gingras claimed to be his and his board of directors' lack of communication with their group. Councillor Gingras felt the issue of private driveway road access was continually brought up to her as a councillor outside of meetings, and that this matter required more discussion. The township planner in attendance then clarified that all members have access, and the issues with the private driveways are an internal issue within the ALPG and had nothing to do with the township or the zoning bylaw before council at that meeting. The bylaw amendment was then adopted by council at the same meeting. Excuse the motorcycle passing by. 3 appeals to this amending bylaw were received by the township and forwarded to the OLT, the Ontario Land Tribunal. Subsequently, at the February 14th meeting, Council 2022 Council meeting, a resolution was passed stating that Council directs staff to write a letter to the OLT requesting that the appeals in regard to the zoning bylaw amendment be dismissed on the basis that they have no relevance to the intent of the approved bylaw. The letter was written and sent to the OLT. At the April 11th meeting, Council was then considering a motion whether to dedicate resources to defend the bylaw at the OLT hearing should one be scheduled. Councillor Gingras felt strongly about her duty to support her constituents, whom she felt had been treated unfairly. To clarify the extent of what was said during the April 11th Council meeting, the following quotes from the recording of the meeting have been included in the report. Councillor Gingras stated, respecting the bylaw, that the township bylaw that was the subject of an appeal to the OLT, I just feel that the Agnew Lake Property Association should defend their own document. We didn't develop that document, and I don't believe the taxpayers of Nairn Centre should be on the hook to pay for planners and lawyers on behalf of the Agnew Lake Property Association, which would also be going against many of our residents. Therefore, I support not allocating funds and resources to the OLT hearing. After Councillor Bourrier spoke on the issue, Mayor Diebel then permitted a member of the ALPG in the audience to respond to Councillor Gingras' statement by saying they were also taxpayers. Councillor Gingras interrupted the speaker, albeit by saying, excuse me, Mr. Chair, I'd like to, and until the mayor called order, at which point Councillor Gingras responded, the taxpayers like you, I represent these taxpayers over here, pointing to the appellants. They are also taxpayers in the same community. The LPG member then interjected, when you talk, it's like it's us against the taxpayers. And Councillor Gingras continued, well, it is right now. 3 of them have appealed the document you made. And so, yes, I'm the voice for the people over there that opposed it. Mr. Chaumont then responded, I just want to say I got scolded by her at the last meeting when I was here November 8th, and I got that on file. I'm not going to stand here today and get scolded by that councillor. To which Councillor Gingras responded, Mr. Chair, I'm entitled to my opinion, and I will speak on behalf of whichever residents I choose to, and that is my job, to be the voice of the people that don't clearly have a voice here today. Once the mayor pulled the discussion back to the council table after a couple of other speakers and asked for any further comments from council, Councillor Gingras concluded her comments with, and again, I'm just representing the folks out there, not only the ones that appealed that are within the ALPG, but even the people that aren't, that are out there with private homes, like some of the road changes will affect them. And we have to, you're right, speak on behalf of everybody. She went on to say the appeal was tried to be put forward, referring to the original zoning bylaw. The people handed in their check to the town possibly didn't fill out the paperwork right, or something was askew with the appeal, and they received their check back from the township for the appeal. So it's not like they never ever tried to appeal this. They have, and I think we just need to speak on behalf, and I'm speaking on behalf of those people, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for the time. 2 days after that meeting, Councillor Gingras took it upon herself to reach out to Mr. Chaumont for a further discussion, which he felt included a number of apologies regarding how he and the ALPG Board of Directors had felt at both the council meetings on November 8th and April 11th, and both felt they had had a good discussion and hoped they could move forward from there. One of the letters received by the Integrity Commissioner was included in the council agenda package on May 9th under correspondence. Mayor confirmed that documents had been placed at each councillor's place at the table prior to the start of the meeting, and realizing they were not provided as part of the formal agenda, they were not read at the time by the members, and this was confirmed around the table. The president of the ALPG, Mr. Chaumont, was in attendance and spoke to council about his concerns about the private ALPG issues continuing to come to council table when they have their own process in place as an organization to deal with and discuss and vote on as ALPG members. He had also requested a formal document stating the town owned their bylaws, not the ALPG, and council agreed that the bylaw was a township document based on a resolution passed by council, and directed the CAO to respond to Mr. Chaumont regarding the bylaw. The mayor then acknowledged Councillor Ginger's request to respond. She stated, "I just want to confirm expressively that I did not read these documents when they were placed on my table at that meeting." Mr. Chaumont interjected that it could be a coincidence, but he believed that Councillor Ginger had actually read the documents, as what she said at the meeting was very similar to the contents, which he had obtained a copy of. She went on to say that she had spoken to the folks that were opposed to what's going on up there. They contacted me, which is allowed. And when I sit here and speak, I am speaking on behalf of them. I am just representing them with my words. Councillor Ginger then confirmed that she knows that it's not protocol to read something that someone just brings to a council meeting with proper process. She understood proper meeting protocol, and that normally she shouldn't be rebutting comments from the public during the meeting. However, in this case, she asked for and was given permission to do so from the chair. In her words, "So I follow protocol." Councillor Ginger ended her comments around who owns the bylaws of the township by explaining what a bylaw is by stating, "A bylaw is a resolution of council. It can be amended or repealed at council's discretion." So in analyzing the findings of fact, it's noted that members of council are held to a higher standard of ethical behavior than and are expected to adhere to the code of conduct and other municipal policies. More specifically, members of councilors are required to conduct themselves properly in a civil and respectful manner at meetings, to speak only to the subject under debate, respect the decision-making process, and support decisions once made by council. By listening and speaking with Councillor Ginger, it is easy to see she is a passionate person who feels fully justified in bringing her or her constituents' concern to any platform that presents itself, including the council table, particularly if fairness is in question. It is also clear that she believes she is familiar with and follows meeting protocol as laid out by the procedural bylaw. In this circumstance, it's evident to the Integrity Commissioner it was disrespectful to make a comment about who she thought was in attendance at the meeting, and to publicly support appellants to a township bylaw at any time in or out of a council meeting. Clearly, the latter is a fact that Councillor Ginger either chose to ignore or didn't understand its critical relevance. In her belief, it was her job, and I quote, "her job to be the voice of the people that don't clearly have a voice here today, no matter what." I put in no matter what, sorry, that was after the end of the quote. Council had already approved the subdivision, had subsequently passed a resolution to ask the OLT to dismiss the appeals as they were not relevant to the bylaw. By continually attempting to revisit these matters when anything came to the table involving the ALPGG subdivision, Councillor Gingras failed to follow meeting protocols and did not respect council's previous decisions respecting the matter. No matter how strongly Councillor Gingras felt it was her duty to support her constituents who she felt had been treated unfairly, her duty as a member of council was to support the council decision. Verbally supporting the obviously frustrated appellants in attendance at the council meeting was in clear contravention of the code of conduct as well as the council proceeding bylaw. It was basically hijacking the agenda for her constituents' own and their own purposes. Additionally, it appears, considering all the discussions pursued by Councillor Gingras at all three meetings in the matters respecting the ALPG, she does not understand or want to admit that the private road access issues of her constituents were not relevant to the matter on the table at more than one meeting and are out of the jurisdiction of council entirely. In taking this stance knowingly or unknowingly and responding in the manner she did, Councillor Gingras did contravene the town's code of conduct as well as the council proceedings bylaw as detailed at the beginning of this letter. And that's the end of my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And like you mentioned, council will be receiving a copy of that, and do have a motion here that we will review it at a future council meeting and discuss the findings and recommendations in a future council meeting. So is there, I guess I'll open it up to councillors if there's any questions right now.
None at this time for me, Mr. Mayor.
Not for me either, until I read the report again.
Yeah.
Same here, I've got them, thank you.
Okay. So Councillor Depatie, can you move that we will consider the findings at a future council meeting?
Yes, I'll move that.
And Councillor McDonald, the second.
Yes.
So moved by Councillor Depatie, second by Councillor McDonald. Results that council accepts the Integrity Commissioner's report as presented, and further that council will be considering the findings and recommendations included in the report at a future council meeting. All in favor? And that carries. Okay, so I think that's it unless you have anything else for us, Colleen. I think that's it, right?
No, I don't. Thank you very much, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to 3B now. Richard Paquette, the bylaw officer, regarding correspondence requesting an animal control bylaw to include cats. So the councillors had received the complaint from the resident, and that was in the agenda package under correspondence 8A. But I'll turn it over to Richard if you have any comments.
Well, Rainbow District Animal Services and Bylaw Enforcement is, of course, available to do cat service. We offer cat service to Baldwin, Espanola, Sable Spanish, North Shore, among others. It's really just, I don't even think that it's going to be that big an issue in the municipality, but if there was a bylaw in place that covered cats, we would have the ability to respond to complaints regarding cats being large. We'd be able to rescue cats that are in distress or that are causing a nuisance. And, you know, this would be, in my opinion, there'd be so little activity really that it wouldn't really affect even the contract price going forward. The one condition that we have for coming into a service agreement in that regard is that the bylaw also require that cat owners license their pets. I don't know if that is what the issue was. We've made this proposition to the Nairn and Hyman several times, and you're the only, like I said, one of those customers in that area. Not the only customer that we have that doesn't offer cat service, but definitely the only one in the La Conche group, and the only one that we're also doing bylaw enforcement for. We're more than happy to do it and have those protections in place for when we do take animals into our custody to be able to properly dispose of them pursuant to the Animals for Research Act and the town bylaw. And, you know, whether that means, you know, eventual euthanization for unfriendly cats or cats that we can't find homes for, or readoption, you know, we need that them to be included under the animal control bylaw in order for be able to proceed in those situations. So I'm not sure what council's feeling is on that, but it's not an issue for us to do the service, and we're more than happy to do the service. In fact, I would much rather do the service than have to answer those calls from the residents of Nairn and Hyman and tell them that I can't do the service, right? Because, you know, like, and that's a very difficult situation for us to be in. In years past, what we did was we'd accept cats as surrendered cats, but the resident would pay and claim they were the owner of the cat, right? And that's not really the right way to do it. And we discontinued that practice a number of years ago because we can get into a situation where somebody surrenders the cat that they had around their property and turns out to be neighbor's cat from 6 or 7 doors down. And if we didn't handle it the proper way under the law in Ontario, and we could end up in a sticky situation for that. Where if the bylaws in place, there's clear rules and clear protections, not only for us, but also for the municipality as far as what actions we would take there. And the cat bylaw, occasionally we would be dealing with situations between neighbors, but for the most part, we'd be have that ability to rescue cats that were in distress. And I think that's more of the issue that is out there, that you have these stray cats around the community that nobody's taking any ownership for, and we need somewhere to bring them. There's also those situations where there's bylaw disputes, and right now there's nothing that we can do about those either. So I'm open to, at this point, taking any questions that anybody on council has as far as what this would entail. But the approach that we've been taking as far as cats in the last number of years is not necessarily to prohibit them from being at large in the same respect that we do a dog, right? Dogs are not permitted to run at large, period. Where cats, the wording that we've used in the town of Espanola and Baldwin Spanish and all these other places where the cat bylaws are currently in place, is that the prohibition on cats running at large is only if they're in distress, right? Or the bylaw only comes into play if the cat is in distress or the cat is causing a nuisance to somebody. So just a cat hanging around doing nothing, right? Not bothering anybody, we don't bother with those, right? A cat that's peeing in his neighbor's flower bed, right? Then that cat's causing a nuisance. We'll go talk to that cat owner and see if we can't resolve that situation like that. If there's all, and we do have the ability to issue tickets and possibly pick the cat up and treat it as an impounded animal under the bylaw. So I don't know if anybody, like I said, has any questions, but it's something that we're more than willing to start doing, and it's a simple matter of passing a bylaw that says we can.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So is there any questions from council? I see Councillor McDonald, your hand's up. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Bucket, how do you identify, like in the township where you do have cats, same as dog license? How do you identify? Do they have to have dog tag or cat tags?
Yeah, the cat tags that we issue are they're little smaller medallions. They, the owners can choose to put them on the cat if they want, right? But having that cat registered in our system or wearing that tag would, at least try to get the cats home, right? Like if they have the tag, then definitely we're going to trace that tag and return the cat to the cat owner. If they don't have the tag and they're in the system, at least maybe we'll, it's a matter of a cat owner to report their cats missing, of course.
Yes. So I kind of agree with having changing our bylaw to cats. After hearing what that woman said there, with her kids playing in the playground by the house there, and the cats are all over there. But I'm kind of in favor of changing the bylaw to cats also. Thank you, Mr. Bucket, for me.
Okay. Is there any other comments? And the motion is just to direct staff to prepare the bylaw, so then we can review it at the next meeting. So no decision, no concrete decision will be made tonight, but just to get a report on that, and then we can make a decision from there. So if that's good with council, we can go to that motion then.
I'll move that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so moved. And Councillor Bourrier, a second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor DePetty, second by Councillor Bourrier. Resolved that council directs that a draft animal control bylaw that includes cats be prepared for review. All in favor? And that motion carries. Okay.
When is the next meeting?
Right now scheduled for July 11th, I believe.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll be in touch with Belinda and we'll figure it out. I apologize that I wasn't able to attend in person this evening, and I appreciate that you do have the opportunity for me to participate via Zoom. I think that's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
have-
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bucket.
Thank you. If that's all, I'll be dismissed.
Yeah, all good.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll now move on to 4 public meeting. Councillor McDonald, can you move to go into a public meeting?
Yes.
Councillor Despatie, a second on that.
Yes,
Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Despatie. Resolved that the council meeting be temporarily adjourned at 7:33 p.m. for the purpose of a public meeting. All in favor? Carried. Okay, is there any comments on 4A, approval of the 2022 municipal budget? Councillor McDonald.
That motion that Guy put on there for 22,000 in reserve, is that in that budget now?
That would be in the budget, yeah.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
thank you. I just wanted to point out that we had allowed the public to make comments regarding the 2022 municipal budget and the Nairn Waterworks budget, and we did not receive anything in advance of this meeting.
Okay, so yeah, considering there's no comments from the public, Councillor McDonald.
now, one more thing, Frederick, to Belinda there, can I go through you to Belinda?
Yeah, go ahead.
I lost my train of thought there. You were talking about what?
Oh, through you, Mr. Chair, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just mentioned that due to our notice bylaw, we're supposed to place a public notice for that we're about to pass the budget and the waterworks budget. And we're to receive any comments of the public if there was any. And I was just mentioning that there wasn't any received.
Okay, now was the budget, the draft budget on the website so they could see it, or
No, it was, the notice was,
just no?
and that they could request to see it if they wished.
Oh, I see,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, any other comments then?
Not me.
I'm not, okay, I'm not seeing any, so I guess this is to, this is to hear the comments for the, this is just to pass, to hear the comments from the public. So Councillor Bourrier, a first on that.
Yes.
Councillor McDonald, a second.
Yes,
Moved by Councillor Bourrier, second by Councillor McDonald. Resolved that pursuant to bylaw number 2007-9, the public meeting is now officially open for the purpose of hearing comments regarding the 2022 municipal budget and Nairn Waterworks budget. All in favor? Carried. And I'll just let the record show that prior to this, the CEO had stated that there was no comments from the public, and there's no one in attendance with comments at this time. So this is to close the public meeting. Councillor Despatie first.
yes,
Councillor McDonald a second.
yes,
Moved by Councillor Despatie, second by Councillor McDonald. The public meeting is now officially closed at 7:36 p.m. and the council meeting is now reconvened. All in favor? Carried. And this is for the, this is to pass and approve the municipal budget with a taxation totaling $920,115.00. So Councillor Bourrier a first
Yes.
and Councillor Despatie a second.
yes,
Moved by Councillor Bourrier, second by Councillor Despatie. Resolved that the 2021 municipal budget be approved with an amount required for taxation totaling $115.00. All in favor? And that is passed. Wonderful. This is now for the, we'll move on to, this is the waterworks budget now. So with a 5% increase, Councillor McDonald the first,
Yes.
Councillor Bourrier second,
Yes.
moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Bourrier, resolved that the Nairn waterworks budget be approved with a 5% increase. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so that stuff's done. So we'll move now to number 5, discussions arising from previous council minutes. That would be the May 9th meeting. Is there any comments on that?
No, Mr. Mayor.
No? Okay, so we'll move into accept those as presented. Councilor Depatia first.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah,
I have to apologize with our earlier technical difficulties. I failed to circulate the closed session minutes.
okay, yeah. If
Did you want me to pass those or did you want to defer those to the next meeting?
no, that's okay. If people want to take a look at those now, if councilors want to take a look at those now, they're not, it wasn't very long. I think it was
No.
only a couple items. Okay, so I'll just confirm that everyone had a chance to look at them. It's all good.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is to accept the minutes as presented. So Councillor Depatie already moved it. So Councillor McDonald, a second.
Yes.
So moved by Councillor Depatie, second by Councillor McDonald, that the following council minutes be accepted as presented. A, regular council meeting minutes, May 9th, 2022, and B, closed session meeting minutes, May 9th, 2022. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, we'll move on to 7 now, minutes and reports. This is just to accept, note the minutes as received, minutes and reports as received. So Councillor Bourrier first,
Yes.
Councillor McDonald the second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Bourrier, second by Councillor McDonald, resolved that the following minutes and reports 7A to E are noted as received. A, Township of Nairn and Hyman, March 2022, bank reconciliation. B, Ontario Clean Water Agency, April 2022 work order summary report. C, Public Health Sudbury District unapproved meeting minutes, May 19th, 2022. D, Township of Nairn and Hyman CEO report number 2022-2022 regarding next generation 911 authority service agreement with Bell Canada. And E, Township of Nairn and Hyman's fire chief report, June 8th, 2022. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so I'll start with 7A. Is there any comments on the bank reconciliation?
No.
No.
7B, Ontario Clean Water Agency Work Order Report.
No,
Okay, 7C, Sudbury Public Health unapproved meeting minutes.
no,
No.
7D, Township and Nairn Hyman CO report regarding the 911 service agreement.
no,
No.
Okay, so we do have a motion for that, just to make it to direct the CAO. So Councillor McDonald the first,
yes,
Councillor Boyer a second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Boyer. Be it resolved, the CAO's report number 2022-2022 be received for information. And further, that the CAO be authorized to execute the Next Generation 911 Authority Service Agreement with Bell Canada. And as a part of the Next Generation 911 service introduction, together with any related amendments or further agreements as may be necessary as part of the implementation and use of the Next Generation 911 service. All in favor? And that motion carries. Okay, moving on now to, I guess, is there any comments on the fire chief's report? I do have a motion for that.
no, other than, I'm happy to see it getting close to being finished anyway, for this phase.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I'd just like to
Uh,
say- Sorry.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
I just want to say it's sad to see that we're losing 3 firemen, but I trust in our fire chief's decision to ask for and accept those resignations, and hopefully we'll find new blood to come to the table.
mhm. So this motion is to accept the resignation of the 3 firefighters. So Councillor Despatie first on that,
Yes.
Councillor McDonald a second.
Yes,
Moved by Councillor Despatie, second by Councillor McDonald. Be it resolved that the fire chief's report dated June 8th, 2022 be received for information. And further, that council accepts the resignation of the volunteer firefighters Tim Martell, Dennis Bernatchez, and Karina Saki. And further, that council thanks them for their years of service and dedication to the Nairn Fire Department. And all in favor? And that carries. Okay. I guess I'll move on to 8A. We had already discussed that. Is there any comments on that? I know we already discussed it earlier, but if there's any comments on that?
I got no more.
Okay. So 8B, is there any comments on that? I know the CEO might have an update for us on that as she's more directly in contact with them. But the presentation, what they had given was pretty lengthy in there. So I'll let the CEO just give a quick update.
Speak up, Kathy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I did speak with Michael Grove. He's the Vice President of Corporate Development with Rock Deckworks, the company that's working at developing the H&M Kofi project. There was discussions between him and I. They wanted to come and give a presentation. It is quite lengthy. It's about an hour in length. So I'd asked them to send the slide deck ahead to gauge council's interest, to see if they would want to look at having them come give us that investment opportunity presentation. He had said that they were looking for investment partners for this project. There is a potentially good investment opportunity. However, it's a long-term investment, and he said that you would probably not see a return for quite a long amount of time. He did ask if we wanted me to look at the financials. I would have to sign an NDA agreement to have a look at that. I can go forward and do that and see if it's something that the town may be interested in it. However, at this point in time, they are looking for quite a large investment, and I'm not sure if that's something that we want to look at right now. I did convey those potential feelings to him. He said that a lot of other municipalities were looking at coming in at perhaps phase 2. Once the network is built up and running, there would be a further opportunity for municipalities to buy in. So they understand there is some hesitation at this point. So yeah, if council would like to have them come, that's certainly something we could set up, or if they'd like to wait till the next phase, that's an option too.
Councillor McDonald?
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. This small community, we keep what we got and work toward, we help, work together, and I think that's a way over our head, I think. Yes, unless he looks a little differently, but
No, Mr. Mayor, I don't think we have the money to do any kind of investment. That's my only concern. Like, it's nice, and I don't think the municipality should engage in a long-term investment. So that's just my opinion.
no, you said the words better than I did, so that's.
I had read that there was, I think it's 20 years before we see them people break even. So that's, I won't even be around in 20 years. Ways to invest into that just at this juncture. But I just wanted to mention that in one of their slides. Oh, here we go. On page 18, they've got the households being serviced in the township of Nairn and Hyman at 74. There's only 74 households. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like Baldwin Township has 179 households.
I could probably speak to that. If that's okay, Mr.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe they were looking at, this is just an assumption, I don't know yet, but I believe that would be the amount of households out at St. Bay that would be serviced.
What do you mean it's the 74 is up there?
That I'm just making an assumption at this point, since all our town and the outlying areas, like since the main part of Nairn Center is serviced already through Eastlink, that it would be the outlying areas. So also like out on Maggie Bay and Sand Bay, but like I said, that's just an assumption.
Yeah.
That's a very good assumption,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kath.
It's just that through my job, knowing that what for households, I've got 174. So
Okay,
it seems like, did they just miss the one? Because I look at Township of Baldwin at 179. Like,
yeah, that's a good question.
I'm just wondering if it doesn't make sense to me. I've 74 houses. But anyways, that's just my humble opinion. I just seem like that's all.
Well, in Hyman, that subdivision, there's 51 right there in that subdivision.
Yeah.
That rezoning, so 74, I think there's a lot more than 74 up there.
Because if they were talking just like Baldwin, there's not 179 camps at the lake because that's half of us or more. So I don't know, I think that there's some kind of mistake on the chart.
Okay, so we do have a motion on that, and we've left it blank because I didn't know what council's thinking on was it. So I'm just going to put, be it resolved that council awaits further correspondence, and we'll discuss at that moment, or is that okay with everyone?
Okay with me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, could I just seek some clarification?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just curious that Mr. Grow had asked if we were interested in a presentation. So what would be my response to him?
Is there any, yeah, Counselor?
Yeah, I would suggest, through you, Mr. Mayor, that we don't need a presentation.
I agree.
And is it, are we wanting Blend or the CAO to also look at the financials and sign that NDA? Or is it not totally important for us right now?
Which, may I ask the CAO's opinion, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead, CAO.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it certainly wouldn't hurt to take a look. I'm not quite sure how much I am allowed to share with council. I have to check with that since it's just me signing the NDA. So I could certainly take a look and see if it's something we'd even be remotely interested in.
Well, then I move that the CAO have a look at it. They have-
Okay. So I have, be it resolved that council directs the CAO to correspond with Rock Networks and sign the NDA regarding financials. Does that sound good with everyone? Oh,
There it
okay,
is.
yeah, there we go. It was a little frozen. I couldn't hear anyone. So is that okay with everyone? Could you hear me on the resolution?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. So Councillor Despatie, will you move that?
I will.
And Councillor McDonald, the second?
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Despatie, second by Councillor McDonald. Whereas correspondence has been received from Michael Groh of Rock Networks Incorporated regarding an investment opportunity in the H&M Co-Fi project, and be it resolved that council directs the CAO to correspond with Rock Networks and sign the NDA regarding financials. All in favor? Carried. Okay, this is a motion just to note the correspondence is being received. Councillor Bourrier first,
Yes.
Councillor McDonald the second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Bourrier, second by Councillor McDonald. Resolved that correspondences 8A to B be noted as received. All in favor? Carried. Okay, moving on now to motion nine motions. Township of Tarbut regarding Northern Ontario Health Crisis, May 2022, May 20, 2022. I have a motion here to support that letter. Is there any comments on it?
No.
Okay, so Councillor McDonald, can I get a first?
Yes.
Councillor Bourrier, a second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Bourrier, that the corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman endorses and supports the resolution of the Township of Tarbut requesting the province's response to the request for the Nassau University and Northern Ontario communities to transform human health resource planning to relive the healthcare crisis occurring now, relieve the healthcare crisis occurring now, and further that the province accelerate the approval process so that the expanded medical student intake can commence in the fall of 2022, and that a copy of this motion be sent to Premier Doug Ford, the Ontario Minister of Health, and Dr. Sarti Verma, President of NOSM, and the Township of Tarbut. All in favor? Carried. Okay, moving on to bylaws now. These are pretty standard bylaws after we pass the budget. So we have 3 of them. So this one is the tax ratios for 2022. Councillor Despatie first,
Yes,
Councillor McDonald the second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Despatie, second by Councillor McDonald, that being a bylaw to set the 2022 tax ratios be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2022-12. All in favor? Carried. So this is 10B for the adoption of tax rates and penalty and interest payments. So Councillor Boyer first,
Yes,
Councillor McDonald the second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Boyer, seconded by Councillor McDonald, that being a bylaw to provide for the adoption of tax rates and to further provide for penalty and interest in default of payment for the year of 2022 be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2022-13. All in favor? Carried. This is the last one, Councillor McDonald the first,
Yes.
Councillor Despatie a second.
yes,
Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Despatie, that being a bylaw to regulate the supply of water and the price thereof from the municipal waterworks be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2022-14. All in favor? And that carries. Moving on now to 11. For information only. Is there any comments on those?
I have none.
None? Okay, so this is to note them as being received. Councillor Boyer first,
yes,
Councillor McDonald the second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Boyer, second by Councillor McDonald, resolved that for information items 11A to B be noted as received. All in favor? Carried. Uh, 12, other business. Application for citizens appointment to the Recreation Committee, Connie Muro. Is there any comments on that?
No.
Councillor Boyer?
I think she'd be a great addition. She's
Mhm, I
good
think so
work.
too.
She was on the record before, wasn't
She
she?
was,
So I
yeah.
thought.
She was town,
Yeah, down
Janitor.
janitor,
Yeah, okay. So I guess we'll move the motion there. So Councillor Boyer first,
yes,
Councillor Despatie a second.
yes,
Moved by Councillor Boyer, second by Councillor Despatie, resolved that council accepts the application for the citizens appointment received from Connie Muro, and further that council appoints Connie Muro to the Recreation Committee. All in favor? Carried. Nothing for closed session tonight, so we'll move to the confirmatory bylaw. Councillor McDonald the first,
yes.
Councillor Despatie a second.
yes,
Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Despatie, that being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council, the corporation of Township of Nairn and Hyman be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2022-15. All in favor? Carried. And before we close, I just wanted to get council's thoughts on taking a summer break from council meetings. I was going to put it to council's thoughts before we agree on another meeting day. I know I talked to Belinda and Melanie, and they said that it would greatly benefit the office, but I'm open hearing council's comments on it.
I got one comment. How are we gonna pay our disbursement sheets? You know, the people that they don't wait 2 months for their pay.
I'll turn it over to the CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We don't approve the disbursement sheets. We don't approve them through council meetings anymore. If they're in line with the budget, now that we have a budget planned, anything that's included in the budget is allowed to be paid. And of course, anything that would be over and above that would come towards council, but I don't foresee anything.
And I
Sorry,
do
go
want to add, if there is anything pressing, like building or planning or anything like that, I would call a meeting if there was anything pressing. So, but I was just gauging council's thoughts.
My thought is, I'm not sure because how the taxpayers are gonna, like, I don't know. I have to have time to think about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm all for it. I trust in our CAO to look after things. And if there's something, like you say, that we need to come to council, you can just call us to council. I think the township is run by the CAO and it's looked after, so.
Councillor Despatie?
Yeah, I'm new to politics, but wrongly or correctly, I was under the impression that most municipalities did have a 1 month, a 1 meeting holiday, if you wish. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
Okay. Well, can we agree on maybe one tonight and then
You're talking
maybe meet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking July and August, but if we want to agree on one.
I can agree on one because that's, but 2 months, I think, that's the whole summer gone.
Mhm.
You know what's gonna happen. I like to keep in contact when the taxpayers, they call me, I wanna know what's going on in this town.
Right, yeah.
And if you don't have meetings, you don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
So I agree with one, if you want to have one, but not two.
Okay. So do we want to meet in August or July then?
I guess it don't really matter.
Doesn't matter to me. Do you have a preference, Mr. Mayor?
No, I don't have a preference.
Would the CAO have a preference?
Yeah, CEO, do you have a preference?
I really don't. I would prefer to have August, but it really doesn't matter to me.
You would prefer.
I prefer to
August?
have August off,
Oh,
but
Okay,
that's just me.
so do we want to meet, in July and then we'll take August as a break then and reconvene in September? Is that fair for everyone?
I'm in agreement with that, Mr. Mayor.
I'll go along with that.
Okay. So,
And if the taxpayer call me, I'm gonna direct them to you.
okay, yeah. Okay, so I'll just, I guess the adjourning motion doesn't change then. So Councillor Boyer, can I get a first on the adjournment?
Yes.
And Councillor Despatie a second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Boyer, second by Councillor Despatie, that the meeting of June 13th, 2022 do now adjourn at 8:06 p.m. and to meet again on the 11th day of July or at the call of the mayor. All in favor? And that's carried. Awesome. Thanks for the meeting, guys. That was great. And I'm glad we got our budget passed.
Oh, sorry, I just want to know, I had a typo on the one resolution to pass the budget.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you said the right date or not, but I noticed it had 2021. I apologize. So if perhaps in open council, we can just make that change.
Oh, yeah. So I have moved by, yeah, so resolved that the 2021 municipal budget be approved with an amount of taxation required. So I'm going to change that to 2022, if that's okay.
Yeah,
I heard
Thank you.
that 21 too, and I kind of,
didn't click.
It didn't click for me either. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much, Belinda.
Thank you.